Hi, I just wanted to welcome you to Motherdale. This is an episode about pre-pregnancy and prenatal. We're going to deal mostly on the side of pre-pregnancy on how to get your healthiest situation possible before you make this wonderful life you want so badly. So I wanted to come on and I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Danielle Taylor. I have 9 children. I've been a wife for 30 years. I've been a mother for 31. And this is Motherdale, where motherhood and the land of plenty collide. And you're going to learn more about what that means for you. So let's get started. So, I'm Danielle Taylor. I'm a mother of 9. I've been married 30 years. I have children ranging from 31 to all the way to 4, almost 5 years old, and almost 31 actually. And yes, do the math. The math is there. We had a baby before we were married because we didn't know Jesus, and then Jesus changed everything. And so everything that I bring to you is going to be out of that perspective, because to me, I want to learn from the perspective of redemption, right? So everything that I bring to you is going to be is clarity and redemption. I want it to be a redemptive process and a redemptive message. And so just know that I've proofed all of these things that I'm bringing to you, someone who has been doing it for a long time, and out of conviction, not out of a trend. So before it was trendy for all these things that I'm going to be talking to you about, I was living through them. And so before there was internet, before there was easy research, it was all hard work, right? So I have tens of thousands of hours, not just hundreds, but tens of thousands of hours in research and experience, all the way from professional experience down to the nitty gritty of daily life with a bunch of children, homeschooling and fertility, marriage, all the things that have to do with life. And so just a few of those words, homeschooling and fertility, it's like, oh, those are issues that we talk about, right? So we're going to talk about those things. Today, specifically, the things that I'm going to talk to you about have to do with how to have the healthiest fertility and what do you call that? Prenatal health. And so I was like pre, what am I trying to say? So anyway, yeah. So we're going to talk about all those things, and I love to answer questions. So please share this with someone you know, ask questions, always like, subscribe, share, all the things, right? Okay, so as you can see, I have a product that I stand on as far as the easiest way to add to the foundation of health. It's not the only thing that I recommend, but it is an easy way to get fruits and vegetables in every single day consistently and for your family. And so this is definitely a big part of why I do what I do. Or not a big part of why, but a big part of helping other people do what I do, which is to be healthy on a daily basis. This is the thing about the body. It has to have consistency for it to make any changes or to repair any of the things. And so while you have to have those things spiritually, you also have to have those things physically. This is an easy way to get the metabolic nutrients, the micronutrients, the phytonutrients, all of the things. So the enzymes are alive, the nutrients are bioavailable, and this is an easy way to do that consistently, because if you do not have consistency, the body is not going to be able to perform the way that it needs to. So if that makes sense. When you do hit and miss, so like, oh, I have a couple salads a week and this and that, and then you realize that, oh, nothing's changed and I can't get my body to really restore. There's some added nutrients that you need to have that are targeted for any issues, which we're going to get into that. But this is the foundation right here of consistency. So though you may not have all these things consistently in your diet every single day, you are able to get the nutrients that actually register in the body. So when you take this in, there's not a bunch of synthetic nutrients. So when you look on here, this is a nutrition label, so it's not going to give you a breakdown of all the nutrients in a RDA form. Why? Why will it not do that? Because RDAs were developed for them to manipulate those things in a lab and create something that you think you're getting. Now, I do believe in supplementation, but there's superior supplementation and then there's basic. This one right here is superior. Why? Because it registers in the body, and there's red and there's green and there's purple, but I have the red and the green here today. The purples are amazing because purple shades of nutrients do things in the body that other things cannot trigger and do. And so that's why the purples are so important. But today, and you can look it up on my website, I'll give it all that information to you. But today I have the red and the greens, and the red and the greens are what you get for free in addition to what your purchase is. And you get these two for free for your children, right? So if your child is under 13, they get one of each. If your child is over 13, you get the whole 4-month supply for free. Okay, so what you do is you purchase one of these and then you get the exact same thing for free. Now, if you purchase the one that has the purples in with it too, you still only get this one for free, just so you know. And that, why do they do that? So what company do you know that includes your children for free in here? And please, if you have a big family, please message me so we can work together on what is the most effective way for you to get the product for free. We'll talk about that. Anyway, but 1-to-1, if you order one adult thing, you can get a child's for free. And that is a real thing. So we'll get into that more. If you're interested, please do not hesitate to visit the website or message me directly in here on my business website, which I'll give you that information. But yeah, that is how you get the nutrients that trigger the cellular repair that you want to see. So I always want you to remember, that's my first go-to. I always tell people that the kind of results that you will see with the people that I've worked with for about a decade, right? And the people that I've worked with for about a decade is they see the results as if you were juicing and consuming these in the most easiest form you can every single day. And there's no way that you could get this many nutrients. I think it's like 17 fruits and vegetables. And listen, they are grown specifically at their nutrient peak, and they're harvested at the nutrient peak. And then those things are locked in by their patented process. The farms that they have are not farms that you could just get anything from. They are Juice Plus farms that make Juice Plus product. That's it. They have to be contracted in order to be able to do that. And then what is the added bonus? The added bonus is family farms have a safe haven to produce the best, most nutrient dense crops without all those other worries that we know, right? We know what's going on with farms these days. So we always want to see this kind of thing going on. This is a very regenerative and healthy way to get the nutrients that you need and support family farms while you're supporting your family as well. So that's another component that is so super important, is that the results we see liken to that of being able to eat and pick and have these things every single day. Now, if you were to have 17 fruits and vegetables every day, you might not get anything else eaten. So that's why. And why do we need that? Because we have such a depleted atmosphere and such a depleted environment that we need to have the detox fuel for our bodies. What do our bodies run on? They run on nutrient fuel. When we have nutrient rich fuel, then we have very assertive, efficient processes. If we have a severe deficiency, we're going to see a problem with our detoxing. We need to have optimal detox going on in our bodies because we have such a heavy, toxin-laden environment. So that's why I say, I'm not just trying to sell you a product. This is also an education. So when you're eating nutrients, when you're just breaking down your food, if you have a compromised digestive system, do you think you're getting all the nutrients in? You're not. So the process of breaking down, so do you have your teeth? Do you have your grinders in your mouth, right? So are you grinding your teeth properly? Are you grinding your food properly with the teeth that are meant to do that, to break them down? Are you chewing slowly? Was it a nutrient-rich meal, right? And then did you digest it beyond that point? Did you digest it properly? So those are all the things when your body goes to extract. If you don't have the right digestive enzymes, if you don't have the right acid balance in your gut, if you don't have the proper microbes in your gut, right? So if you've had rounds of antibiotics, you've had rounds of medications, you've been deficient, you're drinking soda, you're deficient, right? You're having trouble. And that's why I say it's so, so important that we do follow through on some of these checkpoints of how to get the best nutrients before you're pregnant, while you're pregnant, and then after you're pregnant. And that's what I want to break down today. Let's talk a little bit, and we're going to do other segments on while you're pregnant and then after you're pregnant. Here we're going to talk about before you're pregnant, right? So, and you might find yourself in the limbo of like, well, I'm breastfeeding, but I'm going to get pregnant, or I'm breastfeeding and I am pregnant, because you were maybe at the tail end, or you found that you had some hyper ovulation going on and you got pregnant while you're nursing a new baby. That's unusual, but it does happen. So we want to address some of those anomalies too. I think that the overall normal cycle is before you get pregnant, and then after you're pregnant, you breastfeed for on demand, not pump. I know that's very popular, on demand. And then you have quite a bit of time in between that time and the time you get pregnant again. So we will talk about a little of those things, but we'll definitely address those in the second and third segment of this. So the pre getting pregnant and the prenatal. Let's talk about that. So before you're pregnant, if you have time for a whole year before you're pregnant, it would be optimal to build up your nutrients and to minimize your toxic load. How do you detox before you're pregnant? That's the best time to detox, because you're not breastfeeding and you don't have a demand on your body. So the best time to build up your fertility, oh, but I have fertility issues, I have menstrual issues. I'm going to give you a link to a product that's absolutely amazing that has worked so well for me. The other thing that has worked very, very well for me are two kinds of oils, essential oils. And I do have protocols developed with essential oils. I have found essential oils for the Christian woman to be an amazing, now for all people, yes, but even more so with the Christian woman, because they are literally created in a resonance. And then if you get the right ones, the ones that are done well, they bond with a resonance and lift your spirits. Now they'll do that for the non-Christian. Don't get me wrong. This is what God says. I rain on all people, right? And then I have promises of abundance for those who enter into a relationship close to me. It's the same way I am. Let's not get this twisted. Don't get offended by my message. My children and the people closest to me that feed and bless, and that I feed and bless, right? They have special access to me, right? So if a friend calls me, I might just give them the information that they need because they are in my circle. If they are outside of my circle, I say set an appointment, we'll do a consult. I don't do that for everybody, right? There comes a point where there has to be payment for things and reciprocal, I get that. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that if you have a close relationship or connection with someone, most likely you're going to get an inside treatment that you won't get if you were just someone off the street. So I just want you to understand that God is good to all mankind, but those of us who have a close relationship with him, we're going to see some benefits that when our spirit cooperate with him, and our spirit is in alignment with his healing and his processes and his design, we're going to see those results in an amazing way. So clear out all your religious baggage. And that's another thing too. If you have religious baggage and you have things blocking your healing, you're going to experience that no matter what you profess. So let's wipe the baggage away and let's just get to the essence of the message. And the essence of the message is, if you can receive alignment for health and healing, we're going to get through some of these issues that you're struggling with, and we're going to break those brass ceilings, and we're going to get into a real momentum of healing and alignment so that you can carry a healthy baby and defeat some of these issues that we've seen people with toxicity. So that's the big. Now listen, it's not just moms, it's also dads. So this product is great for dads as well. Dads to be, young men, old men, anything in between. If you're making a baby, you want to be using this. Why? Why am I saying that? You want to be eating a lot of fruits and vegetables anyway. You want to be supplementing a good probiotic, a good digestive enzyme. You want to be doing that because, see, when you break the food down properly, then your body can efficiently use it, and it doesn't have to cycle it through undigested, going through the digestive tract undigested, and then you have all kinds of problems like leaky gut, heartburn, parasitical bloating, all kinds of problems because the body's imbalanced, and then it's using its energy reserves that it would normally uptaking to the cell and then working efficiently. It's using those things to break down things it doesn't recognize, junk food, and then it gets all confused and it gets all bogged down and it sends it to your fat and any tissue it can have to store the toxicity, and then it passes food through that's not digested properly, and then it's of no use. You've used more energy digesting than you have been getting the nutrients, and that's why we're seeing sickness and disease. That's why we're seeing a breakdown of digestion because and of nutrients, because the only way that the cell can regenerate and build stronger cells when it goes to replicate is if it has the nutrient storehouse to do so. So if you're deficient and you're a mess, you're not going to see strong cells. And matter of fact, what you're going to see is you're going to maybe be able to grow a baby, and then you'll have some significant morning sickness. You'll have some significant problems, maybe some high risk things that manifest later in the pregnancy or even at the beginning. And then you're going to have issues with breastfeeding. And then you're going to see it in your teeth. Your teeth are going to, because your body's going to pull from your bones and your teeth if it can't buffer the things that you're putting in. So if you have a real high acid intake of junk food, sugar, and and all that, and impaired digestion, your body's going to take from your frame and your eyes and your hair and your teeth and your gums and all that to buffer that so that it can create a human, right? So it's designed to try to protect that human and you as much as possible. But it says, okay, I've got to go into the stores. You never want your body to have to go into the storehouse to create for the now, right? The storehouse is there to buffer and it's there to generate more. So it's just like a bank, your body bank. If you, and a lot of people are so broke, they don't know anything about this, but if you have a storehouse lump sum amount of money, you invest that in the right places and it generates an income for you that you don't ever have to dip into the principal amount, but that it actually, that's the whole point of passive income, right? Passive income would be if you had an enormous amount, or not even enormous, a generous, goodly amount, healthy amount of money invested, trust, there's all kinds of things that go into that. My grandmother lived on a trust that she got from my grandfather, who had built his trust for her if he were to die early. And he did die early, and she lived on that trust from 50 to 90 something years old, right? And so the principal supported her life with its interest bearing to provide for her. And so she never, I don't know about in the later years, but most of the years she didn't have to dip into the principal amount, and therefore the interest was what she lived on, right? And so then that principal amount was there for, then when she passed, then the family divides all that stuff up, right? Okay, so that's the purpose of the storehouse minerals. The storehouse minerals are your principal amount, and they're there to generate wealth and health in your body, right? So if you are constantly drawing out with bad food, bad drinks, lots of sugar, not good sleep, not good digestion, all those things, you're going to just be depleted. And now what are we seeing? We're seeing so many people who are toxins up to here and they can't get pregnant, or they do and they miscarry, or they have very rough pregnancies. Then they lose all their nutrients afterwards, and then they try to breastfeed and they can't make enough milk, and it's just a trajectory of compounding deficiencies. So we want to free you from that. We want to get you into a place where you're not deficient. So if you say, well, I've always had trouble with this, or I've always had trouble with this, there are times, which I am more than happy to do and have done, Zoom calls with people, so that consultations in a group setting or in a one-to-one, depending on who you are, so that you can get the exact situation that you need to get out of that situation. But just generally speaking, we have to get the nutrients in every single day. We have to supplement with some specific things, digestive enzyme, probiotic, and then mineral supplementation. So super important to build those things, key nutrients. But I have some oils, some specific oils that do very good with hormone support. Super important. Now, if you have cycles of depression or you have cycles of anxiety, that is a long-term deficit rooted in nutrient and then spiritual support. So you have to, in order to reverse that, if it is purely a, sorry, I'm just making sure I don't hear I hear my kids screaming outside because they're just out there. I said, do not come in here. If you have a nutrient deficit for long enough, you will manifest depression and anxiety. And we have that specifically because we have a very depleted environment. So EMFs, lots of phone scrolling, LED lights, lots of cloudy days, lots of sun obstruction, and then we have the sun hysteria. Don't go out in the sun without sunscreen. Wrong. So right then and there, you're going to have trouble with your hormones. So you want healthy sun exposure. And what you want to do in circumstances of prolonged sun exposure is you want to use a barrier. So you want to have a hat and a cover up for the times, and an umbrella for the times where you have prolonged, like a beach day in a tropical climate, or a beach day if you're very fair skinned, a beach day in a regular. You just want to make sure you have a shady area. I like the waterfront, so I'm going to always have a shady area close to the water, whether that's one attached to my chair or one that is a little bit bigger. If that makes sense. You want to have sun exposure, and you want to be sensitive. If you are a person that burns, most likely what's going on with people that burn really easy or really badly with moderate sun exposure is because you're missing nutrients. Did you know that if you have healthy nutrients, then you will have healthy skin, and then you'll be able to take sun exposure properly? The other thing is prepping. What are some of the things that cause sun malfunction, when you're exposed to it? Seed oils, junk food, sugar. Those are all disruptors of all things good. They disrupt hormones. So if they disrupt hormones, which that's what the D3, that's what the sun exchange is. It's a hormone exchange. And so if you're blocking the master of a hormone exchange, which is the sun, which is not by any, that's not by any mistake. Let me tell you, if the sun is our master hormone producer, and it produces enzymes and all these reactions in the body that are good for it, essential, then do you have a relationship with the Son, right? The Son of God, Jesus, who is the master of all the functions in our life and our heart and our soul, right? So it only makes sense. You want to make sure that you have the mind of Christ for the design of our life here, so that you can have the health and the wealth that you need. Because if you have money but you don't have health, you really don't have much, right? So we want to have health and wealth. Those two things go together, and rightly so, because the one that designed both those things truly wants us to have those things. So sun exposure, you want to be able to use the barrier method. Now, if you are going to have prolonged exposure in the water, in the sun, where you're not going to be under the shade and all that, so the things that are most vulnerable, then use natural things that absolutely buffer from the sun. So I love zinc oxide. It's the white pasty stuff mixed with coconut oil. Works wonderful. I don't have any trouble with that. As long as I apply that to my children, and you can look up recipes online, okay? So I'm not here to, now I can give you links. I have an affiliate account with Amazon. So if you want the links to any of these products, please let me know, and I'll link some of them anyway down in the comments. But that way you can support me in this. It's wonderful to have the support. Obviously, I get supported when people get on the nutrient protocol. And listen, I'm going to tell you, I've been doing this for 30 years, 31 years. My son will be 31. I've been interested in nutrients and how to have healthy children. So I've been on that pathway for a long time. I found this was such a blessing because this made it so easy for us to get those things without the intense labor it takes to have this much in the house every single day. It's impossible, especially for a busy mom. Very, very hard. Now, my kids do eat a bunch of fruits and vegetables, but this is definitely above and beyond anything I could do even.